Hey everybody, want to tell you about an amazing event called FAB, Females and Business. It's a 2-day inspirational and education workshop created by women for women in the hospitality industry. It is taking place in Charleston, South Carolina from Sunday, June 9th to Tuesday, June 11th.
Yeah, this event is going to be really cool, and it's featuring a lot of people that are friends of the podcast, former guests on the show like Katie Button and Chidi Kumar, as well as other very impactful female business entrepreneurs in the food and beverage industry. Why attend? Well, it's about investing in oneself. Knowledge is power, understanding your worth. And here's the kicker. If you don't think you can afford the $600 fee that it takes to get in there, have your boss pay for it. Because that's the first step in understanding your worth and your business's worth.
Once again, this is FAB, Females and Business. Check their website out. thisisfab.com. You can also click the link in our show notes, or you can check out our Instagram for more information.
You're listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast, coming to you from the Kitchen Studios, located high atop the historic Raleigh building, located in the heart of downtown Raleigh. The NCF&B Podcast takes you behind the scenes of North Carolina's food and beverage industry. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCFBPod. And now, the sommeliers to the stars, the barbacks in your backyard. It is Max and Matt.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. This week's featured episode is Thrive NC. It's year 2, and we are going to talk about food insecurities. We talk about food systems, school lunch programs, as well as speaking to chefs, brewers, and musicians that all come together to create this amazing food event. Stick with us for about 13 separate interviews that go about 45-50 minutes. And we start off with the 2018 North Carolina Principal of the Year, Tabari Wallace. Enjoy. Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss. And today we are having an audacious episode from Thrive NC here in downtown Raleigh. And we're kicking it off with the North Carolina Principal of the Year for 2018, Tabari Wallace. Why are we talking to a principal on a food podcast? Well, he's going to tell you why, because all of his education has been based around the children, your baby's eating. So welcome to Tabari. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, man. It's actually an honor. It's actually an honor to be with y'all right now.
Same here on our account too. So yeah, why is it so important to you as a principal to be concerned about the food programs that your school provides?
Okay, with the advent of testing and this and that, and everybody wants proficiency to increase, I don't care how great of a teacher you are, I don't care what curriculum that you try to deploy, but if the students are consistently sitting there looking at the clock worried about being hungry, all right, and their physiological needs are not met, they're not listening to you. Look at us as adults when it gets close to lunchtime.
Yep.
The last hour before lunch at work is the most non-productive hour you've ever seen because you're looking towards lunch. And then after that, you're a little sleeping, after the lunch. So lunch is a key part, and breakfast is a key part of the school day. And unless physiological needs are taken care of, we will never be able to increase growth and proficiency in regards to accountability.
You showed that a full day of school starting at 7:30 can be finished by 2:30 with 4 sessions of 84-minute classes, getting a lot. I did the math. I was paying attention.
I'm impressed.
And meaning that you have 4 pretty long sessions where you can learn. Obviously, that's the point when you go into school. That's the first point. Sure. But then balancing it enough to where you can actually eat and socialize and make that whole type of experience. Who knows? Maybe at lunch the kids talk about what they learned while they're eating. That would be interesting.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
And a lot of
we'll slow it down right there.
But a lot of them do, because in order to enjoy the hour lunch, you have to have a 75 and above in your classes. And the state says you're proficient at 75, so you should pass your exam. So in order to attain that, kids, you'll see friends and best buddies, athletic teams and everything else during their lunch talking about the academics so they can continue to keep that privilege.
Yeah.
So
explain that a 75 on your test scores at the time, or your
75 average on your progress report, which is a 4.5 week marking period,
okay,
and then on the report card. So as long as you have a 75 and above on it, you get an hour lunch. If you don't,
Max
you have to
doesn't know
attend.
what that is.
Oh, is that
so-
right?
Yeah, I was in the other class. Actually, you did talk about the kids at lunch detention that would have to clean, and that's why you were so clean there.
Oh, yeah.
I spent an entire third period my sophomore year in that detention. All I did is clean because of, let's just say, disciplinary actions, causation to distract people.
But you
in
probably did
classes.
a very good job cleaning. You did.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But I do want to understand on a serious note, what was your epiphany? Why did you come to this realization that let's start by feeding the kids and then everything will evolve from there?
Last year, what we noticed, our third period block, that third period I told you where you go to class and then 30 minutes later you go to lunch and then you come back to class for the last hour. And we saw that if you look at the proficiency numbers, third period across the board, even with your honors kids and AP, dipped.
Yeah.
I mean, done. So we first looked at something's wrong. And then I noticed whenever we're doing things like if we have an alternate schedule and we move lunch back and all, we saw the fidgeting. You could see kids. You could see your staff members. Something about lunch had a physical effect on people, and then they began to react. So we said, we got to take care of this. Not only that, my kids only had 20 minutes to eat last year.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were rushing. You
Yeah.
know, if you're last in the lunch line, you're trying to swallow it down, then you're trying to get glass. It's not conducive to kids.
Yeah.
So again, we reverse engineered that, and that schedule took care of probably 95% of our problems. And then we were able to expand upon that schedule with the breakfast, doing it after the bell, and this and that. And then it just exploded from there.
Has there been an analysis regarding physical education as well with the school where I just know that of the 4 years that I was in high school, I had PE as my first class of the day when I was a freshman, just because that's the way it shook out.
Right.
But it was almost like going to the gym in the morning, and then after that, I was like, my blood was pumping, it was ready to go.
Then you got to calm down.
But conversely, I also had physical education the period right after lunch, and that was the worst because you just ate and you're relaxing, and now it's like, dodgeball, everybody, run!
You can't move.
So I don't know if just in a sidebar if that's ever been figured out as well as to when's the best time, because obviously eating well is important, but also keeping your body fit physically is important throughout the school day. So is that something that is conscious as well in school programs?
Well, we definitely look at it. You know, we have it's not a requirement, but it is strongly suggested from DPI that all kids have 30 minutes of physical activity each day. And we took care of that with that hour. They eat and then they got 30 minutes. Kids,
Right.
you know, if they're not talking, they're up walking. You can walk all over the school during our program.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids go outside and play ball. We also do clubs during that time and intramurals.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go do physical at time.
Wait a minute, it's not a required class anymore? The kids have physical education?
Yeah, ninth grade. You only have to take it one time.
Wow.
Yeah, you only have to take it. Once you take it in ninth
Folks,
grade,
I did that every year of my schooling. That might actually be something that we can learn from today.
Oh, for
That's just my
sure.
own personal opinion.
Now, usually if you play football, you play an athletic sport, the sport requires you to take it every year.
Yeah.
And it's usually weight training.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it just depends on how the schedule fans out, because we do offer it, first, second, third, and fourth period. So it just depends on it. And the kids usually bounce back. You know, when you were younger, you were a lot more resilient than we are now.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Speaking of resiliency, how did the people, the parents, and the school board and all the budgetary confinements react when you wanted to institute this plan?
Well, we largely did it by ourselves at the beginning.
So was there money that you needed involved, or you just switched the?
What we did, we took what we already had,
Yeah.
which when you come through the line, you know, the old cafeteria lady sitting back there, then you turn, and we had this little salad bar deal that you can do the salad bar on. And we just simply took that down, and they were pseudo kiosks. And so we were able to put the things. We could do the warm food on that, but we
Sure.
did the snacks. Half of your student body is just going to get some chips and a drink. I mean, that's just how it is until we got the kiosk. And then the kiosk has the, and there was a picture in there, but it has it's a window, and it has the food back here. You have your warmers, you have your milk over here, you have your, you go right down like you're at the food court in the mall, and you pick what you want, and you pay for it at the end. And there's something about that, they stopped just getting chips.
Right.
They actually got food,
Right.
because they feel, like I said, they feel like college students. And they sit down in their little tray at their tall tables, and they start eating, and then what happens is you got an hour. You eat the first 10 minutes, what happens if you eat a small meal? You're hungry again by the end of that hour.
Yeah.
They're going back for seconds. So that's when we just saw it exploding. And then the central office saw that and saw our numbers just expanding. They added more man hours, we got more people, and they purchased the kiosks.
I love the
professional
creativity.
kiosk.
I love that, and,
Yeah.
and you kind of were asking for forgiveness rather than permission. You
Pretty
just
much.
implemented it. So
Pretty much, now they love it. Now they love it.
thank you for giving us your time.
We need some more innovation. Let's talk to Tabari.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's
Thanks
been a
very
pleasure,
much.
gentlemen. Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right, Matt, we just finished the awesome symposium at Thrive NC, and now it's time for fun. It's like 4 o'clock and we're about to drink. What's going on?
We are the Food and Beverage podcast, so it's time for the beverage aspect.
And we've got a previous guest of the show, Sean Umstead.
Friend of the program.
Yes, friend of the pod. What are you making for everyone here, Jonathan?
Yeah, so I'm working with Don Julio Blanco, really beautiful vegetal tequila. Then I'm doing local hibiscus and local cilantro. That's been, one is steeped into a tea, and then the cilantro was basically lightly pressed into the tea as well. Kind of brings out that vegetalness. Then a little Sichuan peppercorn over top to give like a hint of something that's not spicy, but a little numbing and like really floral and pretty. And a little lime juice to round it out. And it's like a really fun spring cocktail.
Stop making me wait. I want to taste this thing.
Good, I made them ahead of time.
He's good at making us wait, because the last time we had him on the podcast, we were waiting for Kingfisher to open, and that was 9 months ago. When, pray tell, will Kingfisher be open?
We will be open before the summer solstice.
Okay, so
That's
June
like
19th
July.
at least, you will be open.
Come on, bring it.
I like it. I like
Put some
it.
pressure on these.
Ooh, that cocktail is delicious. I need many more of these.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, sir.
Of course. Thank you.
And thanks for being a part of this today.
Cheers. Anytime.
All right, we are at Thrive NC, and we are post the summit, the educational aspect of the entire event. Matt, who do we have in front of us right now?
So we're closing the circle of our spotlighting innovators here with Dr. Philip Otieneburu of Johnson C. Smith University and Dr. Alice Ammerman of University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She's the director for the Center for Health Promotion and Disease Prevention. And Gabe Cumming, who is Working Landscape's co-founder and associate director. Welcome, everybody.
Matt had this all off the top of his head, by the
That's
way.
right.
He didn't read any of that. Succinctly, for those that didn't have an opportunity to come to Thrive, those are across the state and even outside that are concerned about what's going on, what were some of the ideas or the key points that brought you all here? And I'll just go left to right. We'll start with you, Greg, just to kind of let us know what your mission was in your presentation.
Well, I think the exciting thing about Thrive is that it's really shining a spotlight on food insecurity in North Carolina. But as they were saying when they sort of summarized the event, one of the key messages is it's not just about putting healthy food on a plate or in someone's mouth, literally, right? That there are whole systems behind that for what kind of food people can or cannot access. And so in order to change that, we've got to change the way those systems work in one way or another.
Right.
So that's something that I think all of our presentations were hitting on in some way is, how do you change the conditions in which food is grown, distributed, prepared, and consumed, right? Change that system.
Exactly. I'm not reading it.
Otieneburu.
Dr. Otieneburu, to
Yeah,
further
I
that
think-
point.
Yeah, I think one thing that was particularly beneficial was, based on the range of organizations that were represented here, is the partnerships that can actually be cultivated from this meeting. It brings people who are like-minded, who have different solutions to the same problem. Just the transferability of the various experiences from the different areas.
As you said in jest, but realistically, it's not a job for one person. It's
No,
a
it's
job
not.
for many.
It is.
And with a strong community, hopefully we come through better solutions. Correct. Yeah. And Dr. Ammerman, just to further the points of why you were on stage and speaking.
Well, it's very exciting to have a Blue Cross Blue Shield as a health insurance company focusing on something that's not just, patching people up after they're already have chronic diseases, to go way back to the point of what's preventing them from being healthy and how that can change. And as my colleagues have said, it's a whole systems change. It's not just what food is on the plate, it's how does it get there, and then how does that affect the broader community in terms of the farmers and the food entrepreneurs and others that make that happen.
Yeah. I think the major takeaway and what I'm sensing is that one of the first questions we were asked today is, what is our relationship to food? And I think that a summit like this and a festival like this gives light to so many people who don't think about food in that way, or they just think about it as nourishment, or I have to eat, or I have to get a meal, but now really start to think about food. I think that's the first step maybe to a solution. One thing, as we're not all serious, we need to have some fun as well. So you guys are going to get a preview of the Thrive Food Festival going on here in downtown Raleigh. Is there anybody in particular that each of you are excited to try, or food maybe to eat again? You can make it up, or I can give you one.
So I've been so busy thinking about what I was going to say today that I haven't had a chance to preview the options. But I love food, so I think there's not going to be a shortage of things I'm going to try.
You're going to be in good hands.
I definitely don't think I'm going to be disappointed with the variety of options we have here today.
Exactly.
I'm glad you mentioned the idea of food and fun and enjoyment. As a nutritionist, we sometimes worry about being called the diet police, that we're always wagging our fingers and things like that. So that's the nice thing about the whole food system. It's all very positive. I mean, it's bad that there are people who are food insecure, but the solutions are not stop doing this or stop doing that. It's start doing this and, eat more of this and eat more of that. So it's a much more fun and positive approach.
Yeah, I mean, a big message out of today was food brings people together. So that's what this is. Let's do it.
Yeah. So without further ado, I'll give you guys the first tip. Stephen Devereaux Green of the Umstead and Herons is serving up some hamachi there, some cured hamachi. It's wrapped in seaweed, and it is absolutely delicious. So without further ado, I think you guys should get over there.
I guess you got
enjoy.
a preview, right?
Yes.
That away. And wash it down with essentially a tequila-based, almost margarita, if you will, made by Sean Umstead of the upcoming Kingfisher. You're going to be in good hands with both of them. So thank you very much. And thanks for your contributions today. It's day 2. It's Friday. It's Thrive. We're in Raleigh. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo. Matthew Weiss is at a bar mitzvah. The sun, it is bright. It is beautiful. They thought it was going to be rainy, but it wasn't, and it is amazing. I'm here with Christopher Lopez of Postmaster. Chef, what are you doing here today, Bill?
We're just hanging out. We're serving a nice North Carolina shrimp salad, the house-made puffed grit chip with a little bit of Old Bay seasoning. And then later on, our pastry chef, Maria Luna, has prepared an Arnold Palmer lemon bar with a sweet tea meringue. So we're having a little bit of fun, just selling some stuff and putting out some good food amongst everybody else.
Wait a minute. You are doing 2 courses and are changing throughout the night to go to dessert later?
Yes, we are. We're trying to drive people to come back through, circle back through, and just kind of change it up a little bit.
That is dope. That's why you are you, man. Take that in however you want to take that.
Yeah, sure.
No, that is super smart. No one ever does that, and that makes a whole lot of sense. So any thoughts as to just Thrive in general and why you like participating with it?
We're just happy to be, considered and being part of all these amazing, talented people out here. Beverage, food, this area is really growing and thriving. No pun intended, but, we're having a really good time, seeing what everybody's doing. It's a great time to be a part of the community, and we're really excited.
So last we spoke, we talked about Postmaster opening up,
yes, sir.
And how is business going now? What's been going on over there?
It's been great. We're coming up on a year and a half now, and since day one, we're located in downtown Cary, so there's been a little bit of a learning curve. People getting used to us, starting to trust us. But we couldn't be happy with where we are, seeing the community in Cary grow. Starting to see some of our neighbors, such as Felici, Big Dom, Sidebar, starting to really build our own industry community down there. Has been one of the most exciting things about our tenure there.
What Chef wasn't trying to say right now, but I'll say for you is, Cary, you got to expand your palate and just trust that the chef knows what he's doing. When there's a weird menu item on there, just go with it because it's just going to be delicious.
Right.
Yeah. So that's all.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that you are here along with everybody else. It's such a great collection and connection of the food and beverage industry. That's why the city and the state are pretty awesome about doing food.
No, that's great. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Cool. Okay, hey, so Matt, last year, Aaron White, who's standing just to the left of me, was on stage and spoke at the inaugural Thrive NC. And today, as a guest, Aaron, you're here with a little bit of perspective. Aaron is, of course, of the Community Food Lab, and we were explaining before the microphones went on just exactly what that is. So first of all, please explain what your company does and how it's important into the food community.
Sure. Community Food Lab is a design and consulting firm based here in Raleigh that really focuses on helping develop sustainable, human-centered food systems. We often partner with nonprofits or municipalities on anything from community garden or urban farm design, food hubs, up through food security planning, urban agriculture planning, that kind of strategy and policy level.
Right. And so with your perspective of this whole event. We just sat down and listened to some great speakers. We had a great little lunch too, and we're able to see through Q&A, even through the technology aspect of it with text messaging. We were all able to text in questions. Curious to wonder if you texted any questions in, and or just something that you may have taken back from all the presentations today.
I mean, first off, I think like the event itself was well produced. It's a great thing to be at. It feels really nice. The food's great. The people are great. And so, really hats off and thanks to Blue Cross Blue Shield for hosting this. For me, the big takeaways were that they were able to talk about and have people present on big ideas like equity and food access at the community level. They were able to talk about how you actually do that in a single business or in a school system or on a regional level. And so they were able to actually paint a really big picture of what's possible. And for everybody sitting in the crowd, I think there was an opportunity to hear something that resonated with them, to hear something that might spark a new idea or foster a new connection or give them a way to take today forward in whatever they're doing.
So, tangible example, can you give us something that you or the community food lab is working on right now that is aligned with, or something that would be similar that we talked about today?
Sure. I think the first thing that comes to mind is really what Gabe Cummings kind of mentioned, which is a project that we're working on called Project 40 that envisions a future where a massive amount of the Triangle's food, like 40% of it, comes from the region. And it's an urban-rural project so that all of the spending in this prosperous urban center can start to be thought of as a way to reinvest in and reinvigorate the rural communities that surround the Triangle.
Yeah.
And so by moving food spending from the global food system towards more regional kind of sources, we'll actually be able to start moving the billions of dollars of annual food spending more towards our rural communities. And so we're working on economic development planning around food systems and agriculture at the regional level. So really thinking about city-region sort of scales to do that. So that's certainly one thing that we're working on.
Can I just hold you on there?
Yeah.
I have a question, not to press you too hard because I know it's late in the day, but why is it important that our rural economies are stimulated? Is that mostly for the farmers, so that our farmers are well cared for? Is that the idea, and that we don't get overcrowded populations within the city centers?
So why is it important to help to sort of think about reinvesting in rural communities?
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Our rural communities in North Carolina are losing population. They're losing investments. Downtown economies and commercial fabrics of rural communities are being eroded through kind of corporate consolidation and global economies. And those dynamics are leading to situations where high school students in a rural community don't see a future for themselves there.
Yeah, they are looking to get out.
So the number of ways to measure the crisis in rural communities are immense. I mean, there's so many things that you can point to. But by looking at small and medium-sized farmers as the basis of economic activity, and then looking at small and medium-sized food businesses that either aggregate food or process food into value-added stuff, sell it, move it around, partnering with the community college network so that we're developing a new generation of folks that know food logistics, they know tech-enabled agriculture, they know how to create businesses around food products. Now we actually are starting to create a system where the idea of moving capital to rural communities actually starts to be a community reinvestment project. It starts to be a placemaking project, and it starts to be really about supporting North Carolina's agricultural heritage. I mean, that's a big part of what North Carolina is. That's a big part of what I know of North Carolina. Yeah. And if those towns go away, if the people in those towns don't have a reason to be there, we're going to lose that as a state.
Yeah, and then we will not be able to sustain a local economy at all, even in the city centers, or food. Yeah, Max, one of the things that we haven't talked about today in this episode, we've talked about it a lot in in Thrive NC, the summit, but is the fact that we are the 8th hungriest state in the nation, which is not somewhere we want to be in the top 10. That's the joke that everyone was making, although it's not a joke. But yet we have this unbelievable potential for providing food and agriculture.
We're the 8th. On the other end, we're the 8th largest agricultural state in the country.
Yeah, so clearly the systems are not set right. And so that's where, kind of coming back to what your company and many of the companies that are aligned with today are working to correct. And so we thank you for your work and your help. So check out Community Food Lab. On Instagram, I assume you're at Community Food Lab. I don't even know.
Facebook, communityfoodlab.org is our website.
That's the way to get in touch. Yeah,
you can find us.
But thank you. Thanks for your time as well. And we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm here at the Mofu shop, which is just outside of the Mofu shop. How dare they put you in the space that you always look at all times? Sophia, you're here right now. What are you guys making?
So we've got our chicken and ginger wonton coming out today, all day, hot for all of Thrive. I can't complain being right next to home.
Okay.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Plus, everyone, when they ask where we are, I can just point, literally. I am a landmark driver, so I don't know any streets. So this is perfect, because I would never be able to get them to Mofu otherwise.
For the listeners at home, just realize there's a line that is massive. And Elliot Acosta is just taking pictures of us.
Elliot, how are you?
Of Eat Raleigh. Yeah.
Do you need another?
Sophia's making food. I didn't ask permission. I just started talking to her, and she's so kind to make food and serve the public and talk to me. Elliot, you're a perfect person to talk to at this moment.
I am.
How much, Elliot? If you're on Instagram at Eat Raleigh, you can follow his blog. Like you eat a lot of food.
I do eat a lot of food in Raleigh, hence the name.
It's not just a clever name. So, did you come yesterday?
I did not get to come yesterday. Shout out to the missus for doing kid duty today.
That's fantastic. So obviously the day just got started right now. So what in general, just a general vibe of Thrive NC? Any thoughts about that?
Oh yeah, this is just a wonderful event utilizing City Market. A lot of great collaborations between chefs. That's really exciting to see. A lot of the booths, the teams of chefs creating a lot of interesting dishes and pushing sustainability and
just some great awareness about how we can be a better state. Anything in particular you're excited to see or have tonight?
I was super excited to see Poolside Pizza. Of course, stop there.
Poolside Pies.
Pies.
That's
gosh.
right. That's Ashley Christensen's new pizza joint. And this is the first time I think anyone's seen a public facing of Poolside Pies.
I think any official with branding and all of it. So that was fun.
Really cool.
So Sam Jones is one that I got to stop by. Always asking those people, hey, when are things gonna open? So that's been fun. And to see you. Seeing you has been great.
Oh yeah, of course. The highlight of your day. Thank you. Thanks, Elliot. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man.
Feliz cumpleaños, Jake Wood. Chef Jake Wood of Plates. Birthday today. He's got a line of 1,000 right behind him, and he's making food, and I did not ask permission to speak with him as he's doing all of this.
Permission to speak.
Do I have permission to speak, Chef?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Give us real quick. What are you making?
We got some blue corn grits. We got a little pimento goat cheese in there. We smoked some brisket overnight for 14 hours with some applewood. Got a little barbecue sauce, bell pepper preserve, dried brown butter, man.
Hell yeah.
That's up a little stupid.
How's Steve Day over there treating you?
Steve Day is this is the first time I haven't been chained to the stove in weeks. No, he's great.
It's nice, yeah. Oh, so you work like an employee of Saw, the movie?
yeah. Steve's great, man. I love working with Steve, and I appreciate the opportunity we've created over at Plates, and we're having fun, man. We're looking forward to this summer.
Dude, I got to get out there, man. I'm so happy that you're over there. If anyone didn't know, obviously, Chef Jake Wood, last time we spoke to him on the podcast, he was cooking at 18 Seaboard with Chef Jason Smith. He now is the executive chef at Plates on Glenwood South in Raleigh. We look forward to what you do out there, man.
Right on, man. Come see you soon, brother.
All right, take care.
Buddy. Thank you.
And Steve.
How you doing, General?
He calls me the General because that was once my nickname somewhere in the land as a general manager. No one has ever really kept it up except for Steve, which I appreciate. Steve who is the owner of Plates, has a remarkable resume that puts him all the way out in London at the Cordon Bleu.
He has cooked in French restaurants. He's worn a white coat for many years of his life. And now he's got a tie-dye shirt. Looks like he's about to hit a Deadhead show right now. So what's going on with plates? How the heck did you get Jake Wood to be on your team?
Well, I got old and a little tired, so I said, we need a real chef in here. And so we put the word out, and actually Amy Fox.
Fox, Forrest, yeah.
So
Fox Forage and Farms.
We decided that the way we were going to find the chefs who made good food were the ones who bought good ingredients. So we asked all our high-end vendors. A few days later, we were talking, and everything went from there. It's been awesome.
I will say this, not to put Jake on the spot and make him blush. I know that there has been a calendar of the sexiest chefs in town. We were talking about what it was going to be like for the next year, and I was in a room with many people, men, women, all different ages and races and colors and creeds. The number one chef, they all said, you best get Jake Wood on that calendar.
Good.
Yeah.
Ask my wife. Ask my wife. Make sure it's okay with her first.
What month would you like to be? What your month of May? All right. You heard it here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Good.
I'm about to speak with Kevin Tyndall of Appalachian Mountain Brewery in Boone. He may have the greatest beard in all of North Carolina. Kevin Tyndall, and I want to say hello to you. Hello.
What's up, man?
How's it been going out here? What are you serving tonight?
Max, we have our Longleaf IPA, which is our best seller, which is also connected to the Longleaf Alliance. If you don't know who they are, look them up. We also have our Boone Creek Blonde, our Spodioti Pale Ale, and our Mystic Dragon Cider, which has strawberries, rhubarb, and green tea. It's delicious.
What would you recommend, Kevin Tyndall, on a Friday in Raleigh when the sun just opened up and it's a beautiful afternoon?
Well, since Blonde won gold at the Great American Beer Festival a year and a half ago, that's still one of the best festivals to medal at. We got to go with the gold.
Done and done. Please and thank you. We got to get out to Boone soon. We talked about that, and that is coming. We are going to have a good time. We've got to check out just the mountains in general because there's so much food and beverage going on out there that needs to be discovered. So we'll be reaching out soon.
Cheers. Thank you. Bring it all up. We'll do some trout fishing as well.
Oh, thank you. Take care. I'm taking a break from food and beverage right now to speak with musicians. That's right. So we have Danny and George of New Reveille, which is about to perform here later tonight.
7:30.
Which we will be out there for. I'll be ripping these songs on this digital recorder and then selling them on the black market later on.
Excellent.
And we also have Thorn Dobbinspec,
Yep, close.
who is pretty close. Dude, my last name's Trujillo. How do you think people say it?
I would never. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it.
Exactly. But you're also a musician as well, lead singer of the Iller Wells.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You went there.
Yeah.
You went there. It's two musicians and a wannabe. I'm a wannabe.
Dude,
I am. I'm a lead singer. I don't know if you call that. I kind of wail. I'm the whale part of the Iller Whales.
Well, we have excellent music in an episode that will be released soon on the NCFMB. It'll be a bonus episode. George plays an opening intro, kind of a la minute. I basically forced him, and he had no chance. I handed him a guitar that he had never played before. He was super out of tune, and I said, just do something.
Do something, yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Mike Rosado backing me up on the tambourine on the ones and twos.
That's
or
right.
Just the ones, I guess.
At the kitchen, it's a creative area. We were just recording the Pencil Pushers podcast because George isn't only a musician, he's also an artist, and quite fascinating in that regard as well. You, as a Raleian in the area, would see a lot of his work if you just lift your head up every now and then out of your iPhone. So you're going on at 7:30. New Reveille, Rolling Stone, and everybody else told us we're supposed to pay attention to New Reveille.
It's going to be hard with all of the food out here. And we might be in a food coma.
Yeah.
So yes, please.
Yeah.
Do.
My daughter Alexandra is 9 years old. She's learning how to play music. But Autumn Brand, who is in New Reveille, she's the violinist in the band. She also sings harmonies. My daughter looks up to her. She's like, she is amazing.
Yeah.
She loves her.
That's awesome.
And so New Reveille is her favorite band. She put the stickers that you made all over her walls in my house, and now I have to deal with that.
For all of that.
Yeah.
Is there a better community guy than this guy, though, for real? I mean, George is like one of the best community leaders. You do everything for so many people, and you're a heck of a talented guy. So this guy deserves a lot in this community.
Glad this is audio. You can't see me. You can't hear me crying.
Yeah. But in general, too, Thorn, you're no slouch yourself because you also put on serious events, someone like Thrive NC. You are the coordinator of coordinators. Is that a fair way to say it?
Well, I don't know about that, but man, I love getting community people together, experiential stuff. It's called the Making Memories business, and I think this right here is making memories tonight. Blue Cross deserves a lot of credit for bringing this together and the community together. But I'll give a shameless plug.
Please.
We got June 1st, so to keep that food insecurity line going, we're raising $1 million for the Interfaith Food Shuttle, and we're going to be bringing St. Paul and the Broken Bones and Toots and the Maytals at Red Hat Amphitheater on June 1. So I'm band together time for me. So I'm excited. So that was a shameless plug. I'm sorry, Max.
I am totally okay with that. Thanks again, guys. And hey, break a leg up on the stage, and we'll see you then. Now we're at Papa Shogun at the table. Papa Shogun. We're waiting for some food to come up, and I have now been shamed by about 6 different people in the food and beverage community. C. Mangano, for one, that says, "Why the hell have you not been to Papa Shogun out there in the Seaboard Station area?" And I don't know why I haven't. All I know is this is a fusion of Italian meets Japanese. Oh, okay, I kind of got something, but we got to have you guys on for real at some point. But can I just say, like, hello, and maybe you can tell me what you're making right now?
Yeah, man. So I'm Tom. I'm the chef owner of Papa Shogun. So right now we are piping up some Anko ricotta cannoli. Anko's a Japanese fermented red bean paste that we make in-house. And then we are also churning out some basically olive tapenade stuffed onigiri. So kind of a play on an olive, caper, pepperdew, pepper, Sicilian rice ball, but we're stuffing it into a charred sushi rice onigiri. So
of course you are. So was it after you went to like your 15th Japanese meets Italian restaurant you decided I'm going to do that?
Obviously there aren't too many of us, not just down here, but in the country in general. So
I kid, man. It's a really crazy concept the way you're doing it.
I've been doing it since, I mean, the whole idea of fusion, for lack of a better word, has been in my blood for a while. So since I started working at WD-50 about 12 years ago. So
that's the story that I heard too, that Wiley Dufresne's restaurant, WD-40, my friend Kyle Fletcher to my left had informed me about that. So obviously, Wiley's big note of fame is the molecular gastronomy and the kind of breaking rules idea of food and concept and even the visual. So I am very interested in talking with you in the future in a more in-depth, but right now it's fantastic to have talked to you now.
Just fucking dig in, dude. Awesome.
Thank you. All right, now we are at Noose River Brewing Company. I'm talking to Ryan. I knew you all as solely a brewery, which has always been making fantastic beer, but I am now about to mow down on some pork belly. What's going on here?
So we decided to evolve a little bit with the industry and offer something a little bit more than food. Food trucks break down and things can happen. So we had an opportunity with an old friend of ours that we've known for a long time from down on the islands, wanted to come down and we decided to put a kitchen in. We're going to focus on a European bistro type food. Right now you have a Dubo braised pork belly with a sweet potato, apple puree, and a bok choy fennel slaw.
Well done on the food and the pronunciation of all that you just made.
Thank you.
No, that's fantastic, man. So cool. So it's a brewery and a brasserie now.
Yeah, brasserie. The restaurant opens hopefully about 6 weeks. So we're in Raleigh. That could be 8. That could be 12. So hope is for 6 weeks.
Where is your actual location?
We're in the Five Points area off Pershing Road, just on the south side of Whitaker Mill, and little industrial pocket in the neighborhood.
That's right. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're talking with Matthew Register of Southern Smoke out in Garland, and we're at Thrive NC. Matthew Register, what did you just put out recently?
Oh yeah, a cookbook.
That's right.
On Tuesday.
Yeah, and you had somebody near and dear to my heart help shoot it.
I think she likes me better.
You might be right about that.
Yeah,
we're talking about my wife
right now.
Yeah, which is super inappropriate, but we're talking about my wife who shot your new book, Southern Smoke. Yeah. It is, I know, speaking on her behalf, might be one of her greatest accomplishments as a photographer. Yeah. And for you, man, yesterday we were talking because this is day 2 of Thrive. You were beaming yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, she crushed it. Like, I mean,
she did, but you did too, man. How do you feel about your own cookbook you just put out?
I'm okay now. You know, you and I talked last night that on Tuesday there was a ton of anxiety because the cookbook was finally out, and then I was like, oh my God, what if people hate it? But then I was like, there are pretty pictures.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll work. And yeah,
we don't have to go behind the scenes too far, but from what you were alluding to, you've sold a few books.
Party foul.
And somebody just dropped a branded Thrive drinking vessel.
We're gonna need, and people are like punching in their earpieces. It looks like the president's walking in. You know,
Breaker, we got to clean up down over here next to Southern Smoke. This is the 15th time it's happened at this booth.
The eagle has landed.
But you've done quite well in a short amount of time of the release of this book. You guys are printing a lot of them. You're selling a lot of them. Where can people buy the book in general?
Yeah, so right now, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Don't call Southern Smoke. I wish I had them, but we don't have them, and the response to it has been amazing. And you know, I think a lot of it has to do with the timing. You know, the timing was great. It's summer grilling season. Also, Sam Jones. You know, Sam's book came out the same day, so we're kind of riding. Both of us are riding the same wave together.
It's fantastic, man. It's great to see a new take on what was considered such a standard of culinary design in the South. You guys are taking what was once a classic, but reinventing, modernizing, but still holding true to the old traditions.
Well, and I think that's the important thing. You know, when you look at Sam and I are very traditional when it comes to barbecue. You know, I'm more of the funky side, like, you know, oh my God, what's Matt going to do tomorrow, you know, on the menu. And so, but I think there's a place for both of those things in Eastern North Carolina barbecue, and it's really cool, you know.
Technology. My recording system died in the middle of my conversation with Matthew Register, which is unfortunate, but the key takeaway points are Matthew Register just released Southern Smoke Barbecue as a cookbook, of which my wife was the photographer for all photos in the book, and we will be releasing a separate bonus episode of a behind-the-scenes podcast of what it takes to create a cookbook as a first-time author. So stay tuned for that, but before we get out of here, thank you all for listening. Matt and I had an amazing time at Thrive NC for the second year in a row. We're going to leave you with Reagan Green Pruitt of Blue Cross Blue Shield as we put a bow on this entire event and look forward to next year. And I hope if you didn't get a chance to go this year, you will definitely get tickets where you can all eat and drink merrily, as Matthew would say. So, Regan, without further ado, take it away.
So we are getting presidential with Ms. Reagan Green Pruitt, who is the Vice President of Marketing and Community Engagement for Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Wow, that was pretty good, Matt.
I liked that.
That's an epic title.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Reagan, this is the second time you've been on the show. This is also the second time that Thrive NC has existed. Speaking about from the first time through the progress that's been made throughout the year, where do you see Thrive NC as it stands today?
Well, first I have to say the biggest honor is to be on your show a second time. So thank you for that opportunity.
It is an elite club.
It is. And so Thrive NC is in its second year, and the first year was a smashing success. And we've been here at the summit today since this morning, and we're already off to such a great start. It is sold out this year. So last year, within 3 days, we had sold 250 tickets. I was getting a little worried because it was a brand new idea. We eventually did sell out. This year, after 3 days, we had sold 2,500 tickets and sold out very quickly.
You know how I know you really sold out? Because so many people that know that I was a part of this were texting me, hey, bro, can you give me some tickets? And I'm like, no, man, it's sold out.
That's right.
It
and
really
actually,
is.
When Ashley Christensen won the James Beard Foundation Outstanding Chef Award, the demand for something that's already sold out already went through the roof. And she actually, with all that's going on with her and this award, she showed up for the Thrive NC Summit today, and I just personally congratulated her and said thank you, and she wouldn't have been anywhere else.
You made that announcement when you kicked off the whole show, and I love that you did, because that award isn't just for Ashley, and she knows that. That's for our state, that's for our city, that's for everybody and this food community. It was amazing. Everybody just let out a huge roar, just like we all did Monday night when it was announced.
So what a great way to kick it all off.
Yes, absolutely. And Thrive in its second year, what have we done differently? So primarily, we've expanded our service project. So we have a service project series. The first year, we had one service project. This year, we've expanded that to 4. So we did a service project at Seeds, Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm, A Place at the Table with Maggie Kane and team. And also tomorrow, we've got our final in the series at City Market here with the food bank. And we've had hundreds of employees rolling up their sleeves and giving back to these nonprofits who are out there tackling food insecurity. So that's a big change for us from year 1 to year 2. Again, we've got a 2-night food festival. So it's interesting where the Thrive and See platform is focused on improving food insecurity, tackling this big issue that our state of North Carolina has. But also it's celebrating the rich food culture that we have in our state.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what the food festival is. Today we had our summit. We had over 170 community leaders, government officials, thought leaders, and specialists in food insecurity come together to really brainstorm and get creative about what we can do, what's working, what's happened within the next year. So all of these things together. The food festival was fun. It's the tastiest part of the 3-part series or component of Thrive and See. But at the core of this, it's about tackling one of the key issues facing our state.
I guess the important part is to think of when we're having fun here and it's a 2-day event, it also is really important that Thrive and Blue Cross Blue Shield and everybody that's involved knows that this is a year-long situation. We're not just doing things, this is the day to highlight what we're doing, but there are events and there are programs that are going on throughout the whole year to continue the message of what Thrive NC is all about.
Absolutely, and it was exciting today during the summit to hear some of our nonprofit partners talk about since last year and things that they learned, insights that they heard, or partnership with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, things that they were able to do and put in place. So Johnson C. Smith, they put together some sustainability on their campus, so a lot happening. Also, we have made multi-year investments with many nonprofits talking about food insecurities, tackling food insecurities since last year. Additionally, we're looking very closely at the data and really trying to make sense of the data of where we can be most impactful and drive meaningful and positive change, because this issue is not going to happen overnight. We're not going to do it alone. It's going to take collaboration and us tackling it together and getting to the core of what we're doing and how we're going to do it and how we're going to measure it is really our core focus. So a lot has happened in a year, and I just shared with the summit attendees that I'm really excited a year from now to stand up in front of them and talk about what we've done to, improve and tackle food insecurity this year.
Allow me to throw your own question back at you.
Yes, sir.
So how will you measure it for next year? What are going to be the defining factors?
So this gets really complicated because out of our 100 counties, the infrastructure and the issues they're facing around food insecurity are very different. They vary from not having the transportation to get to the food, but the food is readily available, or there's just not enough farmland to actually grow, or there's not education of how to grow and then how to harvest and then how to cook. So that's one of the things. We're looking at data sets across all 100 counties to figure out where food insecurity is highest, where we can be most impactful, where there's an infrastructure in place that if we were to come in or partner with a nonprofit partner to come in and put some infrastructure in place, could it be continued for them to be able to drive change? It gets really complicated. So through data and analytics, we're trying to simplify that to figure out what are we doing, how are we going to do it, and how we're going to measure it. And that's going to continue to evolve as we go down this path. And it's a journey.
It is kind of crazy to think that we're only in year 2 of this organization of Thrive, and the fact of how many headliners you have and how many people are driven to this event, and how many, like you said, policy changers, thought provokers are attending.
It's so exciting. It's, you build something, you come up with a new idea, and then you've got people, texting their friends to figure out how can I get my hands on a ticket. You've done something well, and to hear people talk about how now they're so aware of food insecurity. So many people are unaware because we have such a rich food culture. We have all these amazing chefs and restaurants across our state. And to hear that, people are now becoming more and more aware that food insecurity is a problem is good. It's refreshing. And we were getting a lot of questions of what can I do in my community? I was not ready for this question at our media event several weeks ago for Thrive NC, but I got several questions about, okay, it's sold out, so what can people do who want to be there in the gates and experiencing the food festival and can't get in? And so, we're working on how do we activate people in their local communities to reach out to nonprofit partners and do something about it. Also, 100% of our ticket proceeds are going to 6 nonprofit partners. And
That's
Vivian
right.
Howard and Ashley Christensen both personally selected those 6.
That's right.
And we talked about those on a previous episode, so we got those in there. That's
awesome.
Yeah, and it's great too because asking someone else where we should put the money is a great separator for sometimes when people figure out how the food chain goes, how the economic chain goes. When you say we're going to make all this money and then we're going to let people that are in the business that understand it on a grassroots level make the decisions of where it goes, really is it's refreshing because that doesn't seem to happen many times in other industries. So just know that when you support Thrive NC, your money and your support is going to a really worthy cause.
100%.
The one gripe I heard about the event
Yes.
was the timing. So in the triangle, for people that are listening outside, we have all the major universities having graduation weekend, and it's Mother's Day on Sunday. And so the chefs are a little bit edgy. They're like, oh, I'm doing this, but I want to
as a former general manager, the worst weekend for restaurants because it's the craziest weekend.
It's the craziest.
Yeah.
So is there any talks about that, or what are you guys
That
thinking
is very deliberate. So we got that question and we spent a lot of time looking into that. And what we've heard overwhelmingly is while it may be difficult for some of the restaurants that are super busy, there's opportunity for other restaurants that aren't as busy to be able to really put their efforts here. And then secondly, the overwhelming feedback that we got is there's so many people in town.
Yeah.
For graduation, celebrating
We're very
Mother's
populated
Day.
right now.
Right, and so people want something to do. They want something to come out and do that's fun with a good cause.
Students
to
can
do
have
with
their parents'
families.
money spent here.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know what we did is that we narrowed it down and we looked at the key insights from our research, and we decided this is actually the exact time we should be doing this.
Fair.
Go to it.
Because you're such a good diplomat. Is there any food specifically tonight that you are most looking forward to trying?
I will not answer that question.
Come on.
But I do like my Don Julio special
Don
cocktail.
That is so good.
So they made this special. So this is the Thrive NC Don Julio cocktail here for our reception.
Procured by the aforementioned Sean Umstead of the upcoming Kingfisher. He kind of knows what he's doing.
He kind of has an idea, yeah. And
now, I will say Michael Lee, I love my M Sushi. So I go to M Sushi a lot. So I am excited to personally meet Michael Lee and sample what they have. So I'll put that one out there because I'm a huge fan.
That's a good answer. That's an excellent answer.
All
Bring
right.
some bourbon when you say hi to him.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of the NCFB podcast, thank you for having us as part of this event, and thank you for being a relatively large company, but saying, okay, this is something where we can affect change as a big company and really make a difference in the community.
Well, thank you guys. You get it, and I appreciate all that you do, and for wanting to even feature this topic is important to me personally and professionally, and for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Matt, what else you got?
Go Thrive NC. Go to it. You will eat and drink very merrily.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the NC F&B podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes, and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.